chapter 4, verse 1 and 2. Just saying that finances is not a set forgiveness. Hey there. Welcome to the Wealth Seed. This is the Wealth Seed. Isn't that something? This is the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast, formerly known as the Wealth Seed. Okay. Welcome to episode 4. I am Lexi Johnson. I am your host for this podcast. Super excited because today's episode is about getting organized in your finances, right? We're going to be talking about divine order. We got to get these finances in line. This is a topic that often stirs up discomfort. Why? Because it demands accountability and it demands discipline. Okay. Now, in and of ourselves, our nature, we'll want none of that, right? Most of us do not want to be held accountable. Most of us do not want to hear anything about discipline. And that really is just because to our nature, right? Part of it is, to rebel against that. But if we want to be good stewards in the area of finances, if we want to be successful in the area of finances, then accountability, discipline, those are some things, not just words that we need to get used to, but taking the actions, okay, that show that those things are not just words, but this is how we live. It is necessary. Okay, so once again, welcome. I am Lexi Johnson. I'm an international speaker. I'm a best-selling author. I am a pastor who specializes in short-term international mission trips. I train missionaries. I take missionaries on these trips. And I'm a real estate investor. I'm a mom. I'm so many things, right? But right now, I'm this podcast host, okay? And above and beyond all of that, I'm a child of God, okay? All those titles, don't worry about it. I'm just a child of God, okay? Doing my thing in this corner, in my corner of the world that the Lord has given me, okay? So we're going to get into that episode for today. But before we do, let me share with you a word from our sponsor. And our sponsor is none other than Kingdom Empowered Network. Okay, KIN for short. Make sure that you are checking KIN out on YouTube. And pretty soon, I believe within the next week or so, you'll be able to see KIN Media on Roku as well, right? So Kingdom Empowered Network, the mission is to partner with faith-minded individuals to cast their nets wide through the transformative medium of digital television. With the potential to reach 120 million viewers, we are dedicated to spreading messages of hope, inspiration, and empowerment. By leveraging the power of digital media, we aim to unite and uplift communities, fostering a global network rooted in faith, compassion, and positive change. Together, we strive to create a platform where every voice can be heard, every story can inspire, and every individual can feel empowered to make a difference. All right, so KIN Media is looking for podcast hosts, show hosts. Okay, you want to have your show on digital television. You have a message that the Lord has given you that you want to get out to the world. So you can simply go to Kingdom Empowered, I-N, okay, not E-M, I-N powered, Kingdom Empowered network. I believe it is what it is. Kingdom Empowered.network. Yes, that's what it is. You can go there and check out the site. You can join the email list. You can set up some time to have a consultation regarding having a show on the platform. You can also even become an affiliate, and you do not have to be part of the KIN family to become an affiliate. What is an affiliate? Someone who simply is in alignment with the mission of KIN and wants to help connect kin with others who have a podcast or a show that's in alignment with the mission. And when that person or company or organization or whatever it is joins kin, becomes a network host, producer, you will get a kickback, right, for doing that. And it doesn't cost you anything to be an affiliate. All right. So thank you. Let's get into today's episode. Okay. So again, episode 4. Today we're talking about divine order. Get your finances in line. All right. So let's be clear. Financial chaos is not of God. Okay. Confusion, not of God. Chaos, not of God. Okay. So 1 Corinthians 14:33 says, "For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace." If your finances are a mess, then you're not reflecting the order and peace that God intends for his people. Now, let me clarify what I mean by mess. When we say mess, because most people tend to think, oh, I've got debt that has become out of control. I don't make the right choices all the time. I'm impulsive. My priorities are not straight when it comes to finances. And certainly it can include that. But let me share with you what else it includes. All of your financials, okay? Your budgets, any financial paperwork, all of those things, like in your home, like your pay stubs, all of these things should be in order. Okay. They should be in order. So now whether you are keeping these things digitally or you're keeping them physically, they should be in a place where you know exactly where everything is. That if you get asked some questions about some aspect of your finances, you may not know it offhand, but you can go directly to a place, an organized place in your home or on your laptop or both, and get the information that you need, right? I have been working with people since 2012 in their finances, okay? And it is very rare, very, very rare to find someone who is organized in that way. They know where everything is. They may not necessarily know the answer off the top of their head, but they know where everything is. And they're just like, oh, just a moment, I got that, I can get that. And they get it, right? With the quickness, because everything is organized, right? So that is also a part of order. If your finances are a mess, you are not reflecting the order and peace that God intends for his people, okay? And you cannot expect, right? You cannot expect to be as successful if you do not have order of your paperwork in order in the actual day-to-day transactions. Okay. Some people, what do you mean I can't have success? So what if my stuff is a little bit out of order? So what if my, pay stubs are over here and my tax things are over there and I can't really find this or can't really find that? How does that affect my success? It affects your success because everything is everywhere. You don't have eyes, you don't have a pulse on this stuff. You're not able to look at everything holistically, right? And make important decisions based on the data. Okay? You're not doing that if your stuff is everywhere, because if you were doing that, you would tell yourself, look, I need to get this stuff together because I can't spend 8 hours, right? Every quarter or 12 hours or however long it takes, trying to pull all the data together, then going over the data and then making decisions based on the data, right? So today, what we're going to do, we're going to explore some practical tips for getting your financial house in order, all rooted in scripture. And yes, I'm going to push some buttons, okay? But that's the point. Godly stewardship isn't about making you feel good, okay? I would hope it makes you feel good, but really that is not the aim. It's about making sure that you come in alignment with kingdom principles, okay? And so If you're good with that, you don't have to be made to feel warm and fuzzy all the time, then stay right here. Okay. If you're not good with that, then maybe this is the place where you like, you know what? I turn this off. Let me go find something else that won't hold me accountable. Okay. And that will not call for me to be disciplined. It is what it is, people. All right. So let's talk about the spiritual foundation of financial order. Okay. So, number one, we want to start by studying. I don't know why I said number one, because I'm not there yet to give y'all a number one, but I hope y'all are writing these things down. It could be the number one of this particular section. All right. So, spiritual foundation of financial order. So, we need to start by setting the stage. And I want to do that with Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. Matthew chapter 6, verse 33 says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you." Now, for those of you who follow me, not only on this podcast, but maybe you also follow me on Kingdom Disciples Training Center when we do our Bible studies every Saturday. Maybe you watch Wednesday Morning Manna at 7 a.m. You hear me say this scripture a lot, okay? That's because it is relevant to every area and aspect of our lives, just like radical godly stewardship is. Okay. That affects every aspect of our life. And finances is just one area, but it also affects that. So if you're not prioritizing God's kingdom in your finances, don't expect him to bless the mess. Okay. I know I have heard sometimes, I don't know about you all, but people say, "Oh, may God bless the mess." You know what I'm saying? And they say things like that. But the truth is, God ain't trying to bless mess. Okay. Now, don't get it twisted what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that God will not, where are your intentions, right? You intentionally want to do something the right way, bring things into alignment. Maybe you're just starting a business, you're getting out there doing the best you can with what you have. I'm not saying that God is not going to bless effort, okay? But what I am saying is, when you're messy and you know it, okay? And you have heard on a few occasions how to not be messy, okay? Don't expect him to bless the mess. Just not going to happen, okay? Now, another thing is we often separate our spiritual life from our financial life. I did that for a whole lot of years, way too many years, to be honest. But we have to understand that these areas are intricately connected. Our spiritual life is connected to our financial life. Let me tell you, your spiritual life is connected to your financial life, period. Okay. Proverbs 3, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 9 to 10 says, it tells us to honor the Lord with our wealth and the first fruit of all our crops. Okay. So this is about recognizing that every penny we have belongs to God. Every penny. I know that there are churches, organizations, things like that call you to talk, give your first 10% and all of that. That's something else that we have to talk about later. But it's not only the 10, if that is a practice in your church or whatever, it's not only the 10%. Okay. 100% of what you have belongs to God. And it must be managed in that way. If you are a kingdom citizen, that is the way, that is the foundation of managing your finances. And so therefore, if we are managing it in that way, then we are actually reflecting his priorities. Not our own priorities, but his priorities. But listen, at some point along the line in your Christian journey, because we talk about his will, not our will, but at some point in your walk, in your Christian journey, in your kingdom, let me put it that way, because Christian these days, this is a very loose term. Some point in your kingdom journey, when you mature, his will is actually your will. It becomes your will. It becomes truly, in fact, what it is that you would desire. Okay. I'm not saying there ain't going to be no, little differences here and there. You may rather prefer this, but above that, this is where you're now saying, look, I do kind of want this, but most of all, what I want, what I truly want is what the Lord wants. Okay. So again, your spiritual life and your financial life are connected. Every penny you have belongs to God. It should be managed that way. Every penny you have belongs to God, and how you go about stewarding every penny will be a reflection as to whether they're his priorities or whether they're your priorities. Okay. Now, hold on to your little seats or whatever. Okay. Because I'm about to say something that we don't often think about. Financial disorganization is a form of rebellion. Yep, you heard me say it. Okay. This is a podcast, y'all, for mature people, or people who are ready to mature, people who are ready to handle the accountability, ready to handle the discipline. Financial disorganization is a form of rebellion. That's it. Because the Bible, we already read it, God calls for order. He's a God of order. He's a God of peace. These are the attributes that he has. These are the characteristics of who God is. And so if these are part of who he is, it also has to be part of who we are. Anything outside of that is rebellion. If you're living paycheck to paycheck because of poor money management, Lord help us today, because I'm going to get ready to say something and some of y'all may unsubscribe or whatever. But for those of you who can handle the truth, more power to you, because you will be successful. If you're living paycheck to paycheck because of poor money management, you are not in bondage. Not to your circumstances. You are in bondage to a lack of discipline. Most people say it's because I don't make enough, or, whatever. They blame it on the environment, blame it on the white man, blame it on whoever. If, you are living paycheck to paycheck, number one, acknowledge your poor money management, but also acknowledge your lack of discipline, because it is never about how much you make. People always think, oh, I just need to go make some more. And the truth is, and if I'm lying, tell me about it. You can tell me about it in the comments, but I know I'm not. The truth is, because I'm human, I've gone through these things too. The truth is, you can go out and make more, and you're just going to do more of what you're already doing. So if you're already out of control in your spending, just because now you get a rainfall of money, or you get this increase now, doesn't mean that you're going to automatically know what to do with the extra money. You just automatically, now you've been living this life fully undisciplined, not accountable to anyone or anything, much less God. And now you got this increase, okay? And all of a sudden, like magic, and magic ain't no part of the kingdom, like magic, you know what to do with this. No, you're going to keep doing what you've been doing. Okay? So your poor money management, it's not because you're in bondage to your circumstances. Can I just tell you, because people be like, well, because jobs don't pay much, or this, that, or the, all of these things are a result of your choices. Nobody forced you to work where you're working. Nobody forced you not to get the skills that you may have needed to get something, to do something that would pay you more. Nobody forced you not to have a business and I'm talking to those who God specifically has called to have a business. Nobody forced you. And even if you have a business, because business doesn't guarantee you're going to be financially successful either. Okay. So that's not what I'm saying. But even if you have a business, nobody forced you not to put the habits in place that are necessary so that you can be profitable, wildly profitable. Okay. Nobody forced any of that. These have been a series of choices that we have made because of our lack of discipline. That's all it is. Okay. Our lack of discipline. Okay. Now, I want to give you some practical tips for financial organization. I want to give you some practical tips for financial organization. Here we go. Hope you got your pens ready, notebooks ready. If you're driving or something like that, pay attention to the road. You can always come back to the replay and get them again. All right. First tip that I want to give you is that you want to establish your allocations and then budget within those allocations. Luke chapter 14, verse 28 through 30 says, "For which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? A budget is not a restriction. Allocations are not restrictions. It is a plan." I'm going to say that again. To sit down and determine what your allocations are, to budget within those allocations are not a restriction. It is a plan. It may appear that people have come into success, whether it's financial or otherwise. It may appear to you that it was haphazard, accidentally, all of that, right? But in reality, it's not. And why is it not? Because God has put a seed within us from before we were formed in our mother's womb. He's put it within us. Okay. And so it's something that over time that he has been preparing us for. Now, whether we have heeded to the preparation or not, and even if maybe we heed to the preparation, but we don't even realize at the time that's what we're doing, we are heeding to preparation. It doesn't happen by happenstance. Okay. It doesn't happen by happenstance. Not having allocations, not budgeting within those allocations is like driving blindfolded. And I don't know about you, but I'm certainly not going to, because I've got some places to go after I do this, right? I'm certainly not going to get in my car, put on a blindfold, and go anywhere. I'm not even, like our house is on the corner, I park on the side. If I pull up just a couple of feet, it's the stop sign to get on, to get onto the main street. I'm not even putting a blindfold on just to pull up to the stop sign. I'm not doing it. Okay. And so if we won't get in our cars and put a blindfold on and go somewhere, why would we do that in our finances? We know if we do that in the car, it's just a matter of time before you crash. And dare I say, it won't take that long at all. Okay. It may be just minutes. But the same happens in your finances. And many of us are out here blindfolded. Okay. We out here blindfolded. We are intentionally putting the blindfolds on. Intentionally, Lexi? Yes, intentionally putting the blindfolds on. And so it should be no surprise to you that you've crashed on a few or several occasions. All right. So you're going to take time to set up your allocations and to budget within those allocations. If this is the first time you've heard me talk, and you're not sure what I'm talking about, you might want to have a consult with me. Okay. The link is in the description. All right. I've talked about even on previous podcasts, what allocating is and all of that. I've done all of that. You can also join the Patreon. Actually, that's probably the greatest place for you to go right now, because we are actually getting ready to move into some deep dives, training into all of that. Okay. All right. Number 2. All right. So number 1, you're going to set your allocations, budget within your allocations. Number 2, eliminate debt. Okay. Proverbs 22:7 says, the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. If you are borrowing, you're a slave, period, point blank. Now, I am not saying that there aren't times where when debt can be a good thing. Debt is only a good thing when you're leveraging that debt, okay, to yield income, and that income or that return is greater than what you owe and the interest, okay? So debt is a modern form of slavery. That's all it is. If you're comfortable with debt, then you're comfortable with bondage. So what you want to do is you want to list out all your debt from smallest to largest, or largest to smallest. It doesn't matter. Start attacking. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can either start attacking the smallest one first, okay, and then going to the rest. That's a snowball effect. Or you can start tackling the one with the highest interest first, okay, and then come down the next highest interest, the next highest interest, and that is called the debt avalanche, okay? Again, join the Patreon. We are doing deep dives. We are going to be doing deep dives into all of these things. All right, and the link to join the Patreon is also in the description. Number 3, you're going to automate your savings and your giving. All right. When I work with my clients, there are 4 major areas for allocations. One is charitable, okay, that's giving, and then the other is savings, is part of what we call our profit first allocation. That name is adapted from a gentleman. His name is Mike McAllowitz. He has a book called Profit First. It is an excellent book. And although it speaks to people who have businesses, I believe that it works very well in your personal finances as well. You have to change the name of some things, structure it a little tiny bit differently, but the concept works even in your personal finances. So yes, in our Patreon, we will be going through those things as well. Join the Patreon. Okay. So automate your giving, automate your savings. Genesis 41:34-36. Joseph advised Pharaoh to store up grain during the 7 years of plenty. Okay. When you are in your time of plenty, because this is how it goes. This is the ebb and flow of life. It's time of plenty, then it's time of, not so much. Time of plenty, not so much. Plenty, not so much. It is just a part of life. Okay. I don't care if you don't have a lot of money or if you have a lot of money. Everybody goes through that ebb and flow. Okay. It's, having a lot or not having a lot is relative. Okay. Depending on where you are, but we all go through that. So Joseph advised Pharaoh to store up grain during the 7 years of plenty to prepare for the 7 years of famine. Okay. So automating your savings is this modern day storage system, part of this modern day storage system. There's something else that I talk about. Join the Patreon yet again. And I talk about these 4 storehouses. Okay. Doing what in modern day, what Joseph did at that time. If you have to think twice about giving to God, but you don't blink when you're splurging on a luxury item, your priorities are misaligned. Okay, we need to prioritize giving to the poor, and we need to prioritize our saving and investing. All right, number 4, track your spending. Track your spending. Okay, Proverbs 27:23 says, be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds. In today's terms, this means knowing where every dollar goes. This is why I teach the concept of allocating, because you have predetermined where every cent, every dollar, every cent is going. And it doesn't matter how much you make this month, or, if it varies from month to month, from week to week, it doesn't matter. Okay, because we allocate based on percentages, but you are predetermining where every dollar goes before it comes in. And this is what God wants of us. If you don't track your spending, you're not just irresponsible, you are dishonoring God with what He's entrusted to you. Period. Point blank. Okay. Now, in this next segment, I want to talk with you about practical application, and then I want to issue you a challenge. But before you do that, let me give you a word from another one of our sponsors. And our sponsor is the P3 Emerge Retreat that you can see there on discussing. I wasn't trying to put that up there. All right, here we go, y'all. Let's get back to our last segment for today, which is the practical application, because you all know I don't want to just be up here talking, teaching. I want to give you practical things that you can do right away. All right, so number one, time to put what we have been talking about into action. So this week, sit down and create a financial plan. Determine your allocations, budget within those allocations. So again, let me share with you just really briefly, like allocation categories. The four major ones that I use for my clients are household expenses, giving, discretionary, and profit first. Okay, and that profit first, again, adapted from Mike Michalowicz. That allocation includes your saving, investing. Okay, it's the multiplier, is what I like to call it. Okay, all right. So sit down, determine your allocations, what percentage of each money is going to those categories, budget within those allocations. Okay, what line items now apply to each one of those allocations, list out your debts, automate your savings, and start tracking every penny. Okay. Number 2, pray over your finances. Ask God to reveal areas of waste. Ask Him to reveal where you lack discipline. Ask Him to show you hidden strongholds that's keeping you from being fully aligned with His will as it relates to your finances. Okay? So pray over your finances. And finally, number 3, share your progress in the comments, okay? Or with someone who can hold you accountable. And if you want accountability, join our Patreon. This journey isn't meant to be walked alone. Iron sharpens iron, according to Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17, okay? So the link to join the Patreon is in the description, okay? You don't have to be out here trying to figure this out on your own. Okay. We have a community. We're working together to ensure that we are all financially successful. All right. So as we conclude today, getting organized in your finances, having divine order in your finances isn't just about having more money. It's about being a faithful steward of what God has entrusted to you. And I didn't talk very much about like the physical organization of things. But if I were to add like another practical application, it would be that to get your finances in order, to spend some time. Maybe you don't get it all done this week, but dedicate an hour at least, okay, to pulling all of your financial data together. Okay. If it's physical data, pull it all together. At least just pull it all together this week. Maybe next week, then you can start, organizing it or whatever. Anyway, I was saying, getting organized in your finances isn't just about having more money. It's about being a faithful steward of what God has entrusted to you. It's about breaking free from the chains of disorganization, from the chains of debt, and from the chains of poor stewardship. Remember, financial order reflects the divine order, okay? Kingdom citizens, we're not just trying to be in any order, we're trying to be in divine order. So financial order reflects divine order. When your finances are in line with kingdom principles, you open the door for God's blessings and peace to flow into your life. That is biblical, okay? Deuteronomy, there is a verse about God commanding a blessing to your storehouses. Storehouses mean you have prepared, you are ready, right? So this is what we want to do. Bring our finances into alignment right now. You're not going to experience wild success in your finances, maintained success in your finances if things are not in order. Okay. And until next time, keep striving for radical, godly stewardship. As always, I like to say, let's get out there, let's produce, let's multiply, and let's dominate. See you next time.